I'm excited to get this started.
Well, game number 3 is going to be on Cactus Valley. It's a very open map, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some aggression come out, as there's definitely room to have it be had. And it's also, as much of it's in being an open map, it's also rather small, as it's very quickly to get across if they spawn horizontally or vertically from each other, though if they do spawn across, it becomes quite a bit of a trip.
It does become a very large trip. These four-corner maps tend to be a bit of a crapshoot in that case. But as we spawn here, we've got our blue Zerg player being played by SteAdfaSt. And this is in the upper right corner. And where is our red player?
Our red Terran player is going to be in the bottom right of Cactus Valley. He is EJK.
And both players establishing their economies as quickly as they possibly can. And they're, like, you know, off to the races, as it were. As things start up, what do you expect to, like, you expected to see a aggressive playstyle coming out of SteAdfaSt right out of the gates, and you're expecting to see the mech style coming out of EJK yet again. Do you think that there's a chance that EJK might just not go mechs? And if that's the case, then what might they do?
It's very possible. Instead of going for mech, EJK could possibly go for a bio play based off of a Widowmine opener, or go for a one-on-one opener where you go Reaper, Hellion, Banshee, but then switch off into Marine Marauder Medevac afterwards. Have a lot of drops going on, and just in general keeping the Zerg on their toes. But this map for mech is actually not that bad, as it's very easy to get up to the 3 bases, as your natural and your third are very close together, so it's not that hard to defend. And they did spawn vertically, so expanding west for EJK would make it very easy, as he just has to block like a very central location to keep both his natural and his third safe.
And that is a really narrow corridor, which we've seen in the past. If Zerg players can't use their numbers to their advantage, it ends up with them losing that particular engagement. So if EJK takes advantage of that particular strategic point, that's going to be really good for him, I think. The Overlord, SteAdfaSt Overlord, making its way south along the map. It's going to eventually come into contact with SteAdfaSt's main base. With EJK's main base. But he's not going to really see anything there. EJK's building all of his stuff off on the main ramp, and his command center is already being used to expand, as well as the hatchery, as well as SteAdfaSt's second hatchery. So both players kind of doing what they've been doing in the past. And we see another extractor coming out, and a spawning pool come out for the Zerg player. So going for that, it looks like, for that aggressive playstyle again. What do you think?
I'm going to have to agree with you there, Slow Wolf. Especially having the gas come out before the pool, you're very likely to get the quick metabolic boost out. He's got enough gas for it now. Let's see. Yep, and there it is. Now with the Overlord, he was actually able to see that the gas was very delayed. So like, that can tell you, okay, you're going to be going for a very greedy build. You probably wanted a command center quickly, which is why you weren't mining the gas. You just wanted so many minerals that you could spend it on things. Instead of teching up or going for a very usual Reaper. So SteAdfaSt, he should be feeling pretty good about this. He's got metabolic boost almost halfway done, but once the queens finish up and the larva injects get thrown in, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a large influx of Zerglings.
And as you say that, both the hatcheries get sprayed by the queens. The queens are going for that very larva-heavy start, which is huge for economy and everything, and for unit production just in general. So we'll end up seeing what SteAdfaSt does. If he builds Zerglings out of this, do you think that's a possibility, or do you think that he'll continue to build drones and try to get that economy up and use the spawning pool as a feint? That's actually a really stupid idea. Do you think that's even a possibility?
Well, it's looking not to be, as right now we've got 26 Zerglings in the production tab. We've got a Baneling Nest on the way, and Metabolic Boost is almost finished up. It's looking to be pretty similar to last game, except though Cactus Valley, it's a bit larger, so it's going to take a bit longer to get those Zerglings across. The wall will actually exist, though we'll have to see. Is it going to be left open again for our Zerg player, or is it going to be propped up? And right now, those Zerglings are beginning to collect outside of the natural base.
And there's an SCV is coming to scout. He can see these Baneling cocoons being built. They're going to immediately take out the SCV. But EJK is wise to what's going on here. He's going to toss one Marine in this bunker just to deal some damage. He's going to bring the other one back. I don't know where to. I didn't see it. But these Zerglings are going to put in a number. They're going to take out that bunker. And the Banelings were not needed for that. The Banelings are going to start waddling their way up the ramp. But is it going to be enough? Well, probably not. Maybe not. And they come, though. It's going to end up taking out both those supply depots. And the Zerglings are now running rampant in the base again. The Hellions just weren't enough. The SCV's being taken off the minerals again to deal with this Zergling onslaught. And the Zerglings are just wreaking havoc. Down goes one Hellion, another Hellion going down very soon after that. And the Hellions are maneuvering themselves in a... Oh, down goes the third Hellion. They were trying to maneuver themselves in a way that made sense, but down goes the main base. And there are still so many Zerglings. So many Zerglings as they begin to take out the bunker. And they start to deal some damage to the other two Hellions that are built up. And that's going to be GG. SteAdfaSt going crazy heavy on Zerglings, not once, but twice to win this series.
Indeed,
what?
Did. And it's kind of reminiscent of our last online stage, where a very similar thing happened. SteAdfaSt kept going for the greedy macro-based play, and then Believe just saw that he was going 3 hatch before pool every time, and went in for the kill. And it works, you know, there's a lot of players that don't adapt very often. So, SteAdfaSt, he saw EJK is going for a very similar thing every time, so he went in with a lot of Zerglings. The Banelings not even having to be used on the front wall of the natural was a huge boon for SteAdfaSt, as that way he had a all left for the main base ramp, and he was able to get down the supply depots and just have his Zerglings start to flood in. And it's at that point where, as a Terran player, you start to not really be able to come back from that.
Yeah, no, that at that point, sheer panic would have been the feeling I would have had as the Terran player. And it was a little bit sad because I just saw these Banelings kind of waltzing up, no meat shields, just Banelings waltzing up to the main ramp area. And there was nothing the Terran player could really do. He put his Hellions in a position where they could potentially shoot, but it wasn't close enough and it wasn't near enough to be able to stop them from just blowing open a wide gaping hole, which caused the rest of the Zergling onslaught to make their way in. And again, SCVs had to come off the minerals and it wasn't enough. So that's going to be your game 3 going towards SteAdfaSt, winning this series 2-1 for the winner's bracket. He's going to sit there waiting for the for the challenger from the lower bracket. But who's that going to be, I wonder?
Well, it's looking to be either Believe, Seraph, or EJK, as EJK will be dropping down to the losers final. Believe and Seraph is going to be our next match in losers semis. But of course, TorCraft Cup, we would not be here without the help of some of our friends. AMD Radeon Memory, they support ESChamp quite a bit, and they make some great product to help up your game. I know we had to recover game earlier. That goes much quicker if you've got StarCraft 2 on one of AMD's R7 series SSDs. And of course, there's Radeon Extravaganza next weekend, June 20th to 21st, at the Hunter and Lucas Esports Club. You go to eschamp.com/AMD Gaming. You'll be able to find out all the information, as StarCraft 2, of course, will be there with $1,500 on the line. And today's winner gets free entry into it. So everyone's gunning for it. And it looks like SteAdfaSt so far is in the lead at grabbing it.
Yeah, SteAdfaSt putting on a really commanding show with his aggressive play, and the fact that he can do multiple styles probably puts him in a really good position to do that. But like we mentioned before, he's not the only one going for that first place, and everybody here is competing for points to qualify. So no matter what, you want to place as high as you possibly can, no matter what. And SteAdfaSt has done a really good job of that today, no matter what happens. The same can't be said of everybody, but everybody's been playing well. From what I've seen so far, these have been really good games, and I'm excited to see what comes out of the rest of this.
Indeed. But first, we'll be going to a quick break before losers semifinals. So be sure to stay tuned. We've got more StarCraft on the way.